Right guys, welcome to the channel. We're going to dive straight on in and have a little look at a student's swing today, see if we can give him some ideas, some help in order to make his game a little bit better than it currently is. 3 weeks ago I popped up on Instagram an idea that might just help a few of you. I simply said if there's anybody brave enough to send me their swing for you guys to have a little look at and for me to give some tuition points on, then I would post it. And thank you so much. I've been definitely overwhelmed by the amount of videos that have been sent my way. So this morning I sat down with a cup of coffee and I picked my first student, and Andrew has sent me a swing through on Instagram with regards to just one singular swing, and the sentence that supported the video said, "My bad shot at the moment is left a pull, hook or draw." So we're going to take Andrew's swing, we're going to take a little look at it, see what's going on with his swing, see if we can help him. And he's definitely got some ideas surrounding what he's struggling with that he has already aligned. He sort of knows his misses left, but maybe we can give him some pointers on why he's missing it left. And I think that's where I want to align this video concept series, based upon not so much this is the only way to do it, or there's not other elements in your game that is affecting it, but just give him some ideas of why it's happening. Maybe give him some ideas of some drills that he could do in order to support a few changes, and then see how he gets on in a few weeks and see if any of these changes have really helped. So Andrew, I'm going to pop your swing into the analyzer. We're going to have a quick chat about it. I'm going to give you a few tips. I'm going to get outside. It's not raining, it's not cold, unit's not up yet, will be soon. And then hopefully some of these ideas can help at least you and then someone down the lens. Might chuck a coffee in the middle of there, but yeah. Right, let's have a little look. Right, I've just popped you in the analyzer, and for your sins I've popped you against DJ. Nothing like being thrown in at the deep end, but DJ is probably one of the best players on the planet for getting the golf club shallow, yet he doesn't hit it left. Left to right, primarily ball flight, sees a fade or a push fade. You could define it as a push fade. This isn't a case of you have to swing it like DJ, because no one can really swing it like DJ. And anytime we do a comparative, this isn't, hey, go and copy a tour pro because he's got it all figured out. Their golf swing is based upon their body type and their flexibility, but there are a few patterns in DJ's game that are opposite to what you currently do. And bearing in mind they're opposite, that's what we want to need to drag ourselves into. That's the element that we need to pick into and say, look, he has a different ball flight to me. He has the polar opposite golf swing to me. Is there some ideas that I can marry from one to the other that is going to help my game get that a little bit better? So looking at your game, I've just popped, like I said, DJ there on the right hand side, and you tell me that you are struggling with a pull hook. As you take it up to the top of the backswing, for all intents and purposes, you've got a really nice structure. Nice full body turn, nice shoulder turn. You've got some beautiful matchups at the top of the backswing with the left and lead arm, matching up the spine condition, matching up the face conditions. So for all intents and purposes, your top of the backswing is, you could change it, right? You could change it to something else if you wanted to. I don't see any real necessary need to change that. I can't see any dramatic changes that need to be made there. On the way down, there's definitely some ideas surrounding a really nice shallow downswing. You've got a beautifully shallow golf swing relative to shaft plane and trail arm. So for all intents and purposes, you've got a great delivery. Yet you tell me you're struggling on a few ideas of pulls and pull hooks. If I take DJ into the same position halfway down, so again, you're going to see a fairly shallow downswing. So the shaft a little bit higher of the trail arm in transition than maybe where you're at. You're maybe slightly underneath that lead arm rather than being slightly above. But there's a key element in there that you can see. The first thing I would say is there's a little bit more rotation on the chest. And there's definitely an idea of a little bit more frontal tilt. Now, what do I mean by frontal tilt? Now, if I take you back to the address position here at address, and we take a measurement from, well, let's not even take a measurement from chin to belt buckle, and I take you to the top of the backswing, you've been able to maintain that relationship. If anything, your lead shoulder has slightly lowered, which means to me you've stayed within your parameters of your tilt. If I was to take DJ to the same parameters again and say, okay, DJ, from chin to belt buckle, let's go up to the top of the backswing and then stop. Again, you can see he's been able to maintain his rotation. He's been able to maintain his spinal tilt. As you rotate, your left shoulder will lower from its original position. So as I rotate, my left shoulder lowers. So that's why we see that left shoulder lower in the screen. Here's where some of the changes actually happen. If I take DJ into impact, and let's ignore his wrist conditions, or just prior to impact, and I take you to 1 frame prior to impact, or maybe let's go into impact because the frame rates aren't quite allowing us to, but you can definitely see the difference between the two players and the difference in that trail arm, the difference in that look of that trail arm. You've got one guy that is completely straightened that trail arm, and you've got one guy that's almost completely kept the relationship that he created at the top of the backswing. One is bent and one is straight. When someone straightens that right arm, they accelerate the golf club. When they accelerate the golf club, they tend to allow everything to catch up. They tend to allow the golf club to release. If the golf club is releasing too early, relative to the body pivot, everything's going to want to go left. So the fact that you've allowed that right arm to accelerate into the downswing means immediately on the post strike, you're going to see a flip position of the handle. Whereas on the right hand side, if you keep that right arm a little more bent, you're going to see a less of a flip position and more control on the face on the way through. A slightly lower handle position on the way through and a slightly lower exit line. That's because there's been a lot more rotation and a less flip. What happens as a result of somebody that throws the right hand? Somebody that throws that right arm on the way down will tend to come out of their posture. So again, let's have a little look at belt buckle to, I guess, shoulder line. In your transition, you can see how much you back up and away from that line. You're getting out of the way. This is your get out of jail card. You're moving your body and pivot away from that green line. You're getting out of the way. You're getting away from that green line to find room. If I was to take DJ from the top of the backswing into transition, so here's the top of the backswing position. Again, from guess belt buckle to lead shoulder and take him into delivery, you're going to see a lot lower spinal condition post strike. You're going to see left and lead hip and shoulders pretty much matched up from where they started. That's because the right arm has continued to stay bent. If the right arm stays bent, you have to stay lower for longer to ensure strike. It also helps and aids rotation. So for me, the fact that you struggle on a few toe strikes, see a few flips on the face, that all stems from that right arm being thrown at the golf ball as your energy, your speed, and therefore you then have to back out of it. When you back out of it, you change where your low point is and you change where strike is on the face. If we can keep your spine a little more consistent and we keep your right arm a little more consistent, I think you're going to be able to deliver slightly more stable shots, start lines, lofts, and hopefully take away that hook pattern. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that idea, I'm going to get on the mat, give you some ideas of some drills that you can do, maybe make it a little bit easier for you to understand, but essentially we just need a few drills to stop this right arm from extending and stop the spine from moving away from the target. Let's go get clogged up and get outside. Right, so this is my opportunity now to get away from the drawing board, get away from the technical analysis and give you some ideas based upon simplicity ideas, some stuff that's going to make it really simple to follow. So this is your current pattern. Ready? This is you. You're setting yourself up nicely to the golf ball. And for the large majority, your takeaway is pretty on plane, you're setting the golf club nicely, and you've got a big turn at the top of the backswing. That's like half the golf swing done. You've loaded the golf swing ready to hit it. So what breaks down from the top to impact? For me, it's how you accelerate this golf club. You are accelerating that golf club rather than allowing the golf club to make its way into impact correctly. You're almost speeding up the process, which doesn't really give yourself time to rotate, and it certainly doesn't give yourself time to get the hands ahead of the golf ball. Think about it logically. If you're struggling with this left miss, in impact, we're talking about an impact condition that sees the club head overtake the hands. That's what we're talking about, where your hands are now behind the club head. We need to create a condition where the hands are ahead of the golf club at impact. So it makes little to no sense for you to accelerate the golf club in the way you're doing. What do I mean by accelerating the golf club? You tend to lengthen your right and trail arm too quickly. Now, watch what happens when I lengthen my right and trail arm. The golf club lowers and heads towards the ground really quickly. Well, by extending that right arm, you accelerate the golf club. If you go up to the top of the backswing and throw your right arm and you stay in your posture, well, you're just going to hit the ground all day long and hit nothing but fats, and you're going to hate life. You're probably going to hurt yourself and your friends are going to take the mick. But you have been able to time it up. You've been able to make this work for you. You make the system work by getting your body away from the ground. So you're setting yourself up and you're going up to the top of the backswing and you're extending the right arm to accelerate the golf club to get a bit more speed, and to get away from that, you are moving your body away from it. And there is your early extension to accommodate a right arm that is being thrown. So we've got to change the way in which you deliver that golf club. We've got to change the way in which you use that right arm, because if we change the way you use that right arm, we're going to change the ideas surrounding early extension and keeping in your posture. So here's a couple of ideas. I want you to release that trail arm, but I don't want you to release it as early as you're doing so. So if I was to throw this golf ball, I'm going to come into impact or pass my impact position and then release my right arm later. That's when I should feel like my right arm is extending. My right arm is only extending post strike. So you're doing everything right. You're just doing it in the wrong sequence. And for the majority of people, this is where I'd say the biggest issues lie. Most people do everything correctly, they just do it in the wrong sequence. So you've got to delay the way in which your right arm extends, or when it extends. Trust me, you won't lose distance. In fact, you'll increase your strike, you'll better your launch, you'll change so many decent things that you'll be like, why did I do that in the first place? Now, what's going to happen to start with is you're going to hit some thins, because you are used to coming into impact with an idea of extending that right arm and accommodating that by backing out of your posture. If you're now going to say, I want to keep this right arm fairly bent as I come into impact, you're probably going to hit it off the bottom of the golf club. You're not used to finding strike that way. Most people, when they make swing changes, they hit a couple of bad shots and think, well, that's not working, I'm going to go and find something else. But the reality is, that's not your method. That's not how you've timed it up, and that's not how you've hit balls or practiced or played. This is a new pattern, so give yourself a break. If you're in lockdown, you can't really hit balls, you haven't got a net, maybe just make some practice swings where you hit the carpet, where you can, indoors, where you're not going to hit anything. Or if you're outside, make a few practice swings on the grass. Just be careful. You don't have to hit a golf shot to start and understand this pattern. So the couple of things that you're going to have to start and think about in order to accommodate a right arm that is slightly more bent at impact is a lower tilt in the posture. The idea is a front bend, staying in your posture. That's going to happen as a result. You're not going to continue to thin it. Your body's going to slowly but surely lower. So the problem surrounding early extension, coming out of your posture, toe strikes, hooky shots, is not an issue. That's going to get better the longer you stay with that right arm bent to impact. As an additional idea to help you in your release profile, if I ask you to put on the brakes post strike or stop your golf swing as soon as you can, as soon as you've hit it, this would typically be your move. You'd set up, you'd hit the shot, and you would stop post strike, and you'd see the butt of the golf club in the camera, and you definitely see that face looking down to the ground. As a small drill that you could do to warm up, even in the back garden, is just go up to the top of the backswing, keep everything you're doing in your backswing, don't change a thing. Go halfway down and just stop for a brief second, and then simply try and get the handle to go around to your backside. Just get it going. Now what that'll do is it'll get your body turning. So if I get the handle to my trail side now, I've had to rotate. Now the moment this handle stops, the moment you stop this handle, you're going to see a flip. If you get the handles to go around you, you're going to see more forward shaft lean, and you're going to see a delayed release profile on the face. So the more you can get that handle to finish left of your body, when the golf club's parallel to the ground, the less likely you're going to be to see a flip on the face. So a couple of things I'd say work on. Keep that right arm bent, see if you can get the handle to go around your body. That's simple. Fairly sort of simple ideas. Doesn't mean it's easy to work on. Just means it might just help you stay in your posture and see a little bit more of a controlled follow through, rather than seeing this big flip of the hands and arms into the post strike. So hopefully that's going to help you out. Hopefully there's some ideas in there that is going to at least challenge what you consider the fault to be. Right, got lucky today with the weather. If you feel like this video was decent, if you feel like this sort of idea would help your game, or you want to send me your swings, drop me a message either here or on Instagram, and we'll do a few more of these. In the meantime, I'm going to go and grab a coffee. Welcome to the channel, and stay safe.